Okay, I just went straight live. That it's great to be back on a drop-in event. I've been missing for a week or so, 1 week or two. I can't even remember now. Tony, Alex, great to see you. Tony, meet
Hi.
Alex. Alex,
Hi,
meet
Alex.
Tony. Introduce yourselves while I just check that I've got Facebook and stuff going on.
Am I around the right way today?
Yes, you are.
Wow, that's unusual. Hi, Alex.
Hi. I can introduce myself if you
Yeah,
Yeah,
want.
you
go
go
for it.
first. I got this little thing.
So my name's Alex McLean. I'm actually trying to. I've been futzing around here trying to see if I can change my name so that I can put do what you've done and say where I'm from. But I am with a theater company based in Canada called Zupa. We were once called Zupa Circus Street Theater, and then we became Zupa Circus Theater, and then we became Zupa Theater, and now we're Zupa.
What part of Canada?
And in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
I'm gonna have to have a little
So,
look and see what that is.
so not far. We're just across the Atlantic Ocean. And yeah, this is the first one of these chats that I've been to, so I don't know what to expect, but I've been telling Steve, because I met Steve, I guess, last June.
Yeah.
When I was in Lancaster. And I've been saying I'm going to drop into one of these things someday. And finally, today I was like, oh, wait a minute, I might actually be able to do that. So
Excellent.
So I'm here.
Excellent.
And don't know what to expect, but happy to be here.
Oh, great! It's great to have you, Alex. I put in Halifax, Canada, in your title.
Oh, thank you.
there.
Oh, amazing.
And Justin's joined us. Tony, introduce yourself to Alex, and then Justin can chime in there.
Oh, what to say? I've been a photographer since black and white film days. Now do 360 VR kinds of things, and I'm just here for a
Okay.
chat. Really, I've been doing lots of
Cool.
work recently that I can't talk about. So, sort of NDAs and all that kind of stuff. So,
Wow.
so I'm just here.
Mm.
I
And
just
are
go-
you based in around Lancaster?
No, I'm in London,
Okay.
West London, Kingston upon
Okay.
Thames. Not far from the river,
Mm,
but I can't see it from where I am.
there you go. My daughter was
Although
born in Kingston upon Thames.
Mm.
I got
There
one
you
that
go.
was made in China. My eldest was made in China.
Wow.
Hmm.
Oh, you dropped again. Ah. It's a bit of a mic drop there.
Yeah.
meters from the China, from the Great Wall of China.
Right.
Could see her from space.
This keeps crashing. I don't know what's up with it, but
Oh, okay.
see how it goes.
All right, cool. And Justin, you joined early. You joined early enough in the chat. Good on you, bro. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got this new mic. I don't know if you can see it. It's tiny.
Oh, for
Does
your
it sound okay?
podcasting. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, maybe. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll crank up a little bit. And Justin, introduce yourself to Alex. He's a fellow
Hey, Alex.
North
Hi.
American.
Okay.
North American.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's hard for me to. I don't know what I'm supposed to say here. Me and Steve used to work together. I'll say that.
There you go.
I work in for a software company. I do consulting. Yeah.
He plays it down, Alex. The guy's he's a bit of a whiz. He's passionate about he's passionate about what he does, and he's not short of an idea or two. And
Great.
And in his ideation, he actually thinks it through to actually building something, which is great.
A
It's
little
one
too
thing having an
frequently.
idea.
A little too frequently.
Yeah, there you go. It's one thing having an idea. It's another thing actually taking it to something that you can tangibly show, demo.
Yeah.
So,
And did Justin? Did you say that, or did you say that you guys worked together at one point?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of San Diego. I was based in San Diego. Came back to the UK, and then Justin's in the Midwest.
Okay. Where in the Midwest?
Northeastern Oklahoma. So
Okay.
just right on the border of Arkansas.
Okay.
There you go.
Amazing.
Good.
I don't know if you caught this. I'm in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Yeah, way up
Oh,
there.
I guess it says that, right? Steve made that in my
Halifax.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what's good. It's Tony's having
Tony's-
issues there. But yeah, so thank you. Welcome, Alex. This is the format is really simple for those joining or listening in or eavesdropping. I did keep an eye on any of the chats. Please, if anyone sort of saw me go live in one of these formats and wants to join, the link is in one of the comments, and it's the same link from previous ones. So the link pretty much stays the same in Restream for this this live event, and it really is truly a water cooler. We talk about everything and anything. Sometimes I guide it with a theme, but really we kind of chat and connect, and it's always professional. I mean, we're on LinkedIn. It's primarily
Mostly.
on LinkedIn, so it is.
Depends on who's here. I'm not saying any names.
It can, but it's a social chat. I mean, I guess my primary outcome is I've been doing this for over a year now, 18 months probably. I started with audio lives in LinkedIn, which is very nice. It's very easy. But the downside is that you can't watch a replay on an audio live. It's only in the moment. So you lose some of that sort of connection post the event. So I kind of transitioned from doing the audios to actually doing a video live, put Restream in the play. And I stream it to a Facebook group, the Managers Who Lead, and also within LinkedIn. And I do stream it privately to YouTube because I'm probably looking to maybe have some content presented there as well down the line with the podcast and maybe some of the drop-ins. So that's basically it. And sometimes we get some, I mean, both of you have been podcast guests, so you know my vibe, right? In terms of just having this chat and seeing where it goes. And everybody, I can pretty much confidently say everybody is surprised at how smooth and easy a podcast chat goes on the one-to-one thing.
Yeah.
And really a part of that, I guess, is this format whereby you just sort of rock up and you say what's on your mind, what's on your heart, what's pressing, questions to the audience or things
It's fascinating.
that you can chew over.
It's fascinating to me. I really think this format, man, people don't do enough of that. Like I've considered doing just this like loose hangout. I mean, so many of the podcasts I listen to, you have like, Huberman is kind of the extreme example, right? Where it's very structured and formatted and whatever. And it's loose too. Like it gets loose, but he's got a guest. They've got an agenda. He's got an agenda. There are a lot of podcasts like that. But a lot of them also just kind of take this very loose format and people tune in for it. I mean, I really think there's something here in terms of just like show up and show out,
Yeah. And it's you got to trust that it's okay to just hang out. You got to trust that it's okay to have a space where you can just be you and chill in that respect.
Yeah.
Alex is in the theater world, so
Man,
his project is off the chain. I want him to share about that too. So
yeah, I watched that episode. It's the mobile thing,
Oh.
right? The mobile theater.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I
Cool.
was super inspired by that. Actually,
Awesome.
I'll let you for the sake of this, episode. I'll let you tell about it. But
Yeah,
it was super cool.
share a little, because I think it speaks to the sort of the organic, natural nature of things.
Yeah, cool. Did you want?
Yeah.
Sorry, did you say you wanted me to give a little quick?
Expand on it a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, this is, I guess, how I met Steve. I was in Lancaster, England, in this past June, and the reason I was there is because I was working on preparing for this I guess you could call it a performance. It's a sort of a show. It's a sort of a game, a kind of a treasure hunt. It's a thing called This Is Nowhere, and we made it in 2018 for Halifax, where I'm from, and the way that and we're doing a version in Morecambe, England. So the way that it works is, if you are an audience member, you download an app onto a phone or another device, and you're told at a certain time on a certain day to be in like kind of central Morecambe. And you go there at that time on that day, and then at that time you get a phone call. And then after that phone call, you're now on this kind of journey looking around the town for these undercover performances that are happening in different places. And they could be anywhere. They could be in a cafe, they could be in a flat, they could be on the waterfront, they could be in a shop. All sorts of different places, but you basically get a series of clues through this app, and you try and decipher the clues and figure out where you're being sent to, and the app will let you know if you're getting hotter or colder. And so gradually you sort of get to the spot that you're looking for, and then once you get within a range of the spot you're looking for, the app starts giving you instructions of what to look for while you're there. So it could be a person sitting at a table with a, flower in their lapel. It could be, again, you're not ever totally sure. And part of the fun of it is that you're never totally sure what's real life and what's part of the performance. But then you get there, you find the thing. There's usually some kind of looping, kind of 10-minute long little performance. It could be a conversation. It could be somebody, it could be just one person talking to you directly. It could be something that you see and don't hear. It could be something that you hear and don't see. But it's all meant to make you think a little bit about this place where you are. And so you kind of, all of these little scenes, all of these little undercover performances have a theme. The themes range from like health to play to justice to commerce to any number of things. They're all just meant to make you think about that aspect of life in this place. You then type in a little response based on what you've seen, some ideas that you have maybe for this place where you are and what it might be like in the future. You share that with the app, and then you get sent looking for another undercover performance. And you keep doing this for a while, and every now and again you pass other people who look like they're doing the same thing as you, but maybe they're going to the place you just came from, and maybe you're going to the place they just came from. And after doing that for 3 hours, all of you are assembled at a final location where for the first time, the entire audience gathers with all of the people who've been these like undercover performers around the town. And then all of those thoughts that everybody's been sharing over the course of that 3 hours are all being projected in this final location. And there's music and there's food and there's a bit of a celebration at the end. So we're working on doing that in Morecambe. Hopefully a preliminary version will happen this fall, and then a full version will happen maybe next spring. So it's a big project, and it's, we're working on it from across the ocean with a few partners in Lancaster area. So it's been a labor of love for the last few years, but it feels like it's getting closer to fruition. So that's it. That's what it is.
I am so going to be there. It is.
Awesome.
It is. It's like all of the modalities get hit, at the same time in a real context. And I wish Tony could come back in because his VR 3D stuff
Yeah.
is another element of that in terms of enriching and making an experience more immersive, having metadata in things that you explore in a 3D virtual or augmented environment. So, and then taking that to the next level where you actually, be in the audience is participatory and not just an event that you sit there and gawk at. And
yeah, in fact, we always struggle. I'm like, I say audience because people kind of know what that means, but it doesn't ever feel like quite the right word. So I want to say, sometimes I say participants,
Yeah.
but then it's like I don't want people to think that we're expecting them
to
to
work. Yeah.
yeah, like exactly like that. So in a way it's like you're a player. And it's this big treasure hunt game.
Yeah.
Is there stuff like this in other like major cities, major metros?
I mean, I think there's stuff like it. I guess there's this kind of general genre that people call like immersive theater.
Okay.
And there's some like Disney World is doing it in, like there's like a hotel where you go and you're like a Star Wars character and you kind of walk around the hotel and you're part of this kind of Star Wars adventure. And, so there's that kind of big commercial scale version of it. But all of them are a little bit different too. And in terms the sort of combination of elements that This Is Nowhere is kind of working with, I haven't heard of other people doing it, but I know that, it's often surprising what people are working on in other places that you don't hear about. So yeah.
And
that's very cool. It's very exciting.
The Greek for nowhere is utopia, right?
That's right. And that's right. Yeah, that's where the title comes from, because it's sort of about thinking, like what about this place is utopian? What about this place could be? And then what are the dangers of thinking that way?
It is. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. It's going to be fun.
I really hope we'll be there soon.
Yeah, it's going to be a trip. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, the timeline and the timing may shift, but I think the inevitability of it. Morecambe's a great place for it.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and there's so many like undiscovered little gems in that place. It's like, I don't know if you know it, Justin, but it's like this seaside town that it's changed, it seems like, a lot over the last 50 years, last 100 years. So there's these beautiful old buildings that are kind of like slightly, some of which are kind of abandoned, but then sometimes you like, literally one day we were walking down an alley and saw this guy like throwing a bunch of things into the skip, and we like just popped our heads in, and it's like there's this amazing, this is that Queen's Market space.
Yes.
He's like restored this like Victorian market that's just now like off a kind of alleyway. Like the front of the building was boarded up, but inside it's like he's put in, it's like all renovated and it's like beautiful. He's like reclaimed materials and fixed this like glass roof from the late 1800s, and it's like totally amazing, and it's just kind of there. And so there's all sorts of places like that, so it's kind of a fun place to just walk around and kind of explore.
Sounds like it's a good architectural setting in terms of like the old and the new, and
totally. Yeah. And they've got this big Eden project thing that's kind of like in the works, that's going to totally redevelop the waterfront. And I don't know where that's, I don't know, I know it's always like in the air whether that's happening, but it's a place experiencing a kind of transformation for sure.
And it's interesting you talk about redevelopment, because that brings, like you said, that brings its own set of problems and dangers in terms of pushing out
totally
the local ecosystem, or the
and driving up rental costs and all those things.
I mean, Tony can attest to that in London. I mean,
absolutely. I actually worked on a project which was Docklands when that came in, and I worked with some of the local people, and they had all these gated developments. So it was they were trying to get out of their Porsches, and the doors would open and close. But of course, the locals, they just went, well, if you want to put gates up to stop us getting in.
I don't know what's.
Okay.
I don't know.
He's gone too far this time.
Yeah.
But it's true that the gentrification of parts of London was just amazing to see. I'd left for a decade when I moved to the States, and came back after a decade, and it was so different. Finish your story, Tony. Sorry.
So I was just going to say, so the guys would get these massive chains, and the diggers, and they would, if there was a pathway, which was a public right of way they'd built on, they just, drive their digger along it and just knock all the walls down, things like that. But the other thing they would do is get these giant chains and put. So there was 8 o'clock in the morning, all these Porsches trying to get out. They'd be like, beep, beep, beep. And
Wow.
yeah, I think I've restarted. I've tried different browsers.
Oh man.
No.
Oh, I don't know what that I don't know what that is. I can't speak to the platform. I've got a few people in, and I don't know. Sorry, Tony. He's jumping in and out there.
Steve, I want to hear
Yeah.
about Paris.
Oh yes, Alex. My mum turned 80 on April 7th, and
Wow.
my first, I started my year adopting the 12-week year approach. So her trip involved, first 12 weeks of the year sort of thing, and
Okay.
I'd planned it out in that way to sort of be away with her for her
Amazing.
birthday. She
Wow.
she lives in Jamaica, so she came over from Jamaica and she was here in
Oh, wow.
England, and then we went to we flew out to Paris.
Wow.
Absolutely. I mean, it was the best week of the year weather-wise. I couldn't believe how great the weather was.
Awesome.
Both in Paris and Rome. I mean, there's a chill in the air in the evenings, so we got a lightweight jacket was fine. But during the day it was sunny, and we got on top. We were at the top of the Eiffel Tower on her birthday, just as I'd imagined it. I'd envisioned it, and I'll give a shout out here right now to Jeremy Pope on that one.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, the vision thing. Yeah,
he got the picture.
Yeah,
he got the him and Shaniel got the picture, and it was great. It was great to see something come to fruition that you sort of envisioned, and really taken meaningful steps to its progress. It wasn't just a matter of saying, "Oh, we hope it's going to happen." I'd written in the journal what it was like, giving it a day. This is the day we're doing this, and envisioning the experience. And then as you get closer to it, you feel you're drawn into the vision that you've created. It's not a matter of the dates getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
There's stresses around it in terms of just making sure, the money's there and the timing's there and all the logistics. But you feel more drawn, you're pulled into a vision that you've envisioned rather than sort of being pushed into it. And we had a bit of a faux pas the night we got into Paris, because I lost data on my phone, which is a nightmare if you travel internationally and you don't have data, which means all your Ubers and your maps and your where you need to be and what you need to check on is all over the place. And then my mom's giving me the squinty eye. And I'm thinking, what a bad son I am for taking all the way to France.
I'm surprised you weren't prepared for that, Steve. You're a man about the world.
Well, I thought, I guess, I don't know, Britain and the UK is not part of Europe now. So there's those little things. There's little things that say, oh, if you want a European plan doesn't cover England, doesn't cover the UK. We're the rest of the world now. So I thought my phone coverage would have roaming, at least to get me data for a while until I sorted something out. I ended up getting an eSIM the night of that night we got to the Airbnb, and from then it was fine. But and then we explored Paris. My mum had fun. She was her first time there, and I'll probably pull up some pictures on here somehow. And it was just nice. It was just nice to be away. It was nice to actually get that time away. It was nice to be with her. We were exclusively together 8 days solid. I mean,
nice.
I went off one afternoon, early evening, to take a trip up to a viewing point in Rome, the second half of our holiday, and I actually sent her a little video message because it's the first time I'd been away from all of the trip, which is trippy as well. But we got on great. no major incidents or anything like that. And
Probably
I'm just
lots of good food. Yeah.
food was mixed. It's expensive.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Both places, Paris and Rome, and I'm vegan, so sometimes it's kind of
Oh,
tricky.
yeah.
It's
Right.
tricky to find the dish. I did look
Mm.
up, did go to a great Indian restaurant in Rome. That was really nice. Again, there's a bit of a premium if you're in the middle of if you're in the middle of town.
Yeah.
On everything because the tourists are there. But
Yeah.
I'd been to Paris before, and it was my first time in Rome. So there was a bit of an excitement of Rome over Paris because I'd been there. And I think of the two, Rome is absolutely kicking. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been there. I was there once.
Yes.
Um,
It's crazy good. It's crazy good. I mean,
Mm.
can you imagine doing can you imagine
Oh
doing
yeah.
that?
Oh
And
my God.
this is not nowhere. This is
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Oh, that'd be amazing.
the bus system was great. We had a great guest at our Airbnb. Just beautiful vibe. Our guest bought
Nice.
a bottle of wine and a cake for my mum. Left it in
Oh,
the
nice.
left it in the apartment for
Oh,
us,
nice.
and it was just it was a really
Mm.
nice trip. She had a good time, and every evening she's on the phone back to Jamaica, checking on
Okay.
the dogs,
Checking on things. Okay.
and checking on things.
Mm. Did you go to the Vatican?
We went to St. Peter's Square.
Okay.
All the chairs were out. I guess they're getting ready for Easter, which would make sense. I
Right.
don't know if it's normally empty or not, but
Mm.
it's it's impressive. Rome has got, I mean, the Roman Empire definitely got a lot of
They're around for a
of
minute.
they've been
Yeah.
around for a minute, and they have lots of things that refer to what they do. Carla, how you doing? Can you hear us? She's looking for. I can hear you.
Oh,
We can hear you. Can hear your keyboard clicking. But yeah, but Rome was special. Everywhere was old and not necessarily new. They looked after their city. I think they looked after the history and the heritage of Rome. It's an old city, better than London, I would say. London, I think London kind of got all that steel and glass fixation with a lot of the buildings. Once they had the London Eye as part of that landscape. I mean, I grew up with the tallest thing being Big Ben,
Right.
and St. Paul's Cathedral, and that was and the Tower of London, and those were your iconic landscape things. Westminster Abbey.
They're just
Houses
dwarfed
of
now, aren't
Parliament.
they?
They're all dwarfed by the Shard and the Gherkin and the cell phone
Yeah.
and all of those buildings, and it's sucked some of that life out. I'll just let her know we can hear her. We can hear you. Whereas Rome, I think you can't. I guess that's why you got no subway there, because you dare not dig below the surface.
Yeah. Yeah. And there must be I'm sure there's a lot buried underneath all the,
Yes, yeah. I think the city's
Yeah.
risen by like 10 meters or something, because some of the excavations are that deep, and they're seeing what it was back then in terms of the level of artifacts and stuff like that. The importance of the hills, it's great. It's very different to Paris. Paris is really flat. From the Eiffel Tower, it's almost right to the horizon. There's no topology, whichever way you look. It's beautiful, great buildings, but it just feels like there's nothing undulating. There's no hills at the back, mountains at the back or anything. Whereas Rome, there's hills around it, so you can find a vantage point where you can look over the city,
Right.
which is pretty. It's a really interesting place. And public transport was great. It was cheap. You don't have to stay in the center to enjoy the center, and it feels like there's enough things for locals to do amongst the tourists. So it's not just all, tourists in Vatican or at the Colosseum or any of the major sites. Trevi Fountain and Spanish Steps are big because I guess Roman Holiday took that one.
Yeah. And La Dolce Vita.
Yes. It's good. It's a nice town. My host at the Airbnb in Italy, we were going somewhere and he was telling us how to get there. And he says, you could take a couple of buses and, don't worry. The buses are timely, but if you've got to wait, you wait. And he says, he said it in Italian, so I won't even try to mimic it, but it translates to the sweet do nothing. Which I like that. If you enjoy, if the sweet being, I guess, if you're enjoying your life, you don't have to do anything to make your life enjoyable. Is my take on it. So he goes, he said it in Italian. It sounds so much better in Italian. I wish.
Of course.
Yeah, the dolce, no, nada. I don't know what he said, something like that. I go, what's that? He goes, the sweet do nothing. We just we drink, we eat. We don't have to do anything. We close the shop at 1:00, open up again at 4.
Right. It does sound like a good.
Not the way we do it in America, right? Not the way we do it in America. Hustle.
Yeah.
Grind.
Gotta
Right.
grind it out.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You can hear us now, Carla. All right. Yes. All righty. Got the take down. Yeah. And good afternoon to you too.
Oh, that's right. Well, yeah, good afternoon now, right? It's good to see you.
Where are you coming to us from, Carla?
I am live from the big city of Sanford, North Carolina. I just got back from Tampa last night from a week with Forbes Raleigh. I am pumped. I'm on fire. Feel the flames through the screen. I feel great.
I saw some of the posts. They looked great. It looked like a great week.
We had a ball.
Yeah.
It's almost indescribable.
Fantastic.
Did you go to St. Pete at all while you were there in Tampa?
Yeah, she's in St. Pete.
Okay.
We're kind of back and forth between the two.
Yeah, man. I got to go to St. Pete last year. Yeah, it was
Loved
great. It was great.
Where is that?
I'm ready to go back already, and I just got home yesterday.
It's in Florida. It's just across the bay in Florida.
Oh, okay. It's a coastal spot?
St. Pete is, yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
On the interior.
It was just a little too close to the water for me riding across the bridges.
Oh, yeah. The bridges are crazy getting from Tampa. Yeah. The bridge is crazy getting from Tampa to St. Pete.
It looks like you can reach out and touch the water from the car. The water.
Oh, really?
To the water
You go over Tampa Bay, like you've heard, Tampa Bay Buccaneers or whatever. You drive over Tampa Bay. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're not. It's not an elevated bridge where you're way above the water. You wouldn't see it.
It's elevated. You can see it. It looks like you can reach out and touch it. It's really high. The water is really high.
Oh, okay. So it looks,
I took pictures. I'll post those this afternoon. Yeah.
And it's like it's a highway. It's like an interstate, right? Like when you're driving across the bay, it's like, what is it, 12 lanes of traffic or whatever? Just crazy, but you're like going right over the bay. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And it doesn't flood. There's no fear of flooding or
probably.
Hurricanes. Well, it's a bay. It's a bay.
It's another story.
Yeah. I don't know if it's got tidal.
They were hit pretty hard when the hurricanes came through
last year. Yeah,
I forgot exactly what month that was. Last year.
September. Yeah, I was there in August.
Forbes had to cancel, reschedule Forbes Factor Live. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
Her house was spared, thank God, but many people weren't. Right.
Yeah, it was a crazy time for sure.
That's great. That's
The
right.
area that I was, like, I stayed downtown St. Pete, and it was flooded down where I had been, like 2 weeks or something difference between when I was there and when it flooded.
Mm-hmm.
There's always some natural disaster everywhere I go. I know it's the weirdest thing, but like we were in,
Follows you.
we went to Jackson, Wyoming. Was it last summer? No. Yeah, last summer. We were in Jackson, Wyoming, and then like literally we were still on vacation. We'd gone up to Montana, and a bridge that we left Jackson on, like avalanched out. Like it was gone, like just gone.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's the road that connects.
Justin is a Jew. Is it you,
It might
Justin?
be. That's what I'm afraid of.
Is it?
It might be. It's the bridge that connects
Maybe it's you.
Jackson, Wyoming to Idaho. And so like a lot of people that work around Grand Teton National Park actually live in it's in Wyoming, but the people live in Idaho and they commute into Jackson. And that was severed. I mean, I don't know what they did. I'm sure it had an impact on the tourism staffing in that area. It was crazy. I mean, like I said,
did they get a lot
of tourism?
No, or what I was going to say, a lot of avalanches.
Oh, maybe avalanche is not the right word. I don't know exactly. I don't. It wasn't snow based. It might have been like a land. I don't know what it was. I know the road washed out. Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
That is crazy. So where are you going you going anywhere this year that we should avoid?
Not. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. We're still working on it. Yeah. It was just the road just collapsed. It was just like it was overused over whatever, and it just collapsed.
Infrastructure. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was
So
that's
Carla,
almost scarier.
Yes, that is actually. Yeah, if you know something's coming down the pike, then that's not so bad. That's not so bad. So Carla, meet Alex. Right. Alex, Carla.
Hi.
Hello, Alex. Alex, you may be my cousin. My mom's maiden name is McLean, spelled McLean.
No way.
Just like that. Yes.
Wow. From where?
No, seriously.
From whereabouts?
North Carolina.
Okay. Well, it's yeah.
I'm in Sanford.
Right. I'm in Canada.
Yeah. You're my.
But
I'm just gonna claim you.
Yeah. Awesome.
We're all cousins at some level, right?
Yeah, totally. And
exactly.
it's always interesting. I've done a little bit. My dad's super into the kind of ancestry stuff. And yeah, every now and again somebody pops up in a place that we had no idea we had relatives, but like, a second cousin or whatever, and Carolina or where, like we've had people in Australia.
Come on here.
It's always, that's pretty neat.
My grandfather was Andrew McLean, McLean.
Okay. Well,
yes.
And
so I can't wait to tell my mom that this afternoon.
Yeah. And that was an Andrew McLean in Carolina.
In North Carolina.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna make a note of this because I'll ask my dad. He'll know. He's got quite an extensive family tree at this point, so I'll ask him what he knows about.
Yeah, I joked with someone before. I met during the Black Lives Matter marches online on Facebook, and her maiden name was Hooker, and we connected through our family trees. She is my cousin.
Wow.
So. Yeah.
Amazing.
Stay in touch.
That's very cool. Yeah. I'm going to make it.
You never know.
Yeah.
Last time I said it was true. So.
Yeah. And it's definitely true. It's just a question of how far back you have to go to find out that it's true.
Absolutely. We went back to great grandfathers.
Okay.
That's like not even that far.
And relatives. No. Great grandfathers was one of those.
Okay.
And she didn't even know she had relatives in North Carolina. And she was like, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I said, no, don't be embarrassed. And she said, but it was either great or great. I think it was great grandfather owned slaves in 4 counties in North Carolina. Do you happen to have any relatives in any of these counties? And she named Chatham, and that's where my family is from on the Hooker side.
Huh.
And she knew she could fill in blanks on my family tree because it was in her great-great-grandfather's will.
Wow.
And my family was missing those pieces. So I shared with them because that year we met during COVID, when everything was shut down in 2020. And I shared all those links with the family, and if she filled help out of the blanks. We met him, and she was right in Fayetteville because her husband's job had transferred him here. And we met at the theater in Sanford. We're the same height. We finish each other's sentences, and it's just wild. But we cried because it was like some type of spiritual connection between the two of us, and we still are close to this day, like we've known each other all our lives, even though we've only met, just a few years ago. So
That's wild.
Wow.
it's interesting.
I always say that's the
So
quantum.
cool.
That's the quantum, not even cosmic, but the quantum connection that you can have with people. Yeah, I walked up into a
Yes.
pub in Lancaster, and there was Alex sitting there with a mutual friend,
Right.
and he introduced us, and it's like, the all evening,
Yeah.
chatting over a pint, like old mates. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
So,
great. We're almost
long have you
coming up
known each
to
other?
almost a year. 10 months, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's coming
that was June of 2024.
yeah.
Yeah.
Down just down the road from where I live now,
That is
in my
interesting.
local. So
Mhm.
it was great. It was great. And
Yeah.
I'm always awed by the level of connection one can create. And I don't know, part of it is that I almost expect it. I lead with the expectation of there being a connection, as opposed to sometimes you can go through,
Right.
you can navigate the world and have people have to force the connection on you, or they have to prove, or jump through hoops or hurdles before you kind of open up to the possibility of there being a connection. And I tend to go the other way and sort of say, well, we're connected until I know otherwise.
I think
And that's what we had all weekend, well, all week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Steve, I think you're uniquely
Somebody said it.
predisposed for that, though. I mean, I know yeah, Alex and Carla, he came and spent a week with me and my family, or a weekend anyway, 3 days, I think it was, with me and my family several years ago. But that was one of the things that we've discussed, is you're like a connector. That's kind of how one of the ways we've labeled you. One of the ways I said. But yeah, so to hear
I'm not going to go into all the other ones.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
going to talk about any of the rest. But to hear you say that, like you're you just show up with that expectation is not surprising at all. Because, like I said, that's like it. You give that vibe for sure.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And then
It's
people,
rare to meet somebody who you feel you can talk, like that, like you were saying that night, we just immediately all started chatting. And I had just met Anthony, who was the person who we knew in common. I'd only met him the day before, but then I feel like, we were able to just kind of hang out all night, and it's rare to have that openness.
Yeah. That is Lancaster, though.
Justin, since Steve has been to your house, now he has come to my pickout. Now he must fly to North Carolina and attend at least one of my family pickouts that he had mentioned before. Definitely.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you have a plant-based pickout?
I was gonna say you better have some pickles or something, right?
Plant-based pickout.
Pickles.
Yeah.
We do it at
plant-based.
My uncle, even though they're a plant-based,
yeah,
they have plenty of vegetables and fruits at Golden Corral. It might not be like organic or high quality, but they have some there.
Steve, I've been wondering about
there
this.
on the food bar.
Steve, do you eat honey or no? Are you like opposed to honey?
I eat honey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering about that the other day.
Yeah.
I used it in a recipe, and other than that, it would have been vegan, and I didn't know if you would have like considered that like
yeah,
go or no go.
I mean, it is that there are so if someone asks me, then I'll give them an answer. But I mean, I'm not. I generally plant-based, and I guess there's always going to be something on the fringe that will be the real distinguishing point between a true vegan or
Yeah,
a
you're right.
deep vegan or
Yeah.
an animal lover and animal exploitation. Don't eat almonds because
Yeah.
the bees are working. The bees are the workers that make the almonds grow and or pollinate the trees and in orchards. So I didn't realize that was a thing. I actually did look at that one documentary, talked about bee rustling. There's people that go around and steal hives where bees are because it's lucrative. You basically transport your bees to orchards, you set them out in an orchard, and they pollinate the place.
In an almond orchard, you're saying?
Almond is one of it's almonds or pecans or pecans. There was something in the I forgot which state it was that is big. It could have been New Mexico. I know pecans are big down there. Pecans, as you say, pecan.
Yeah.
Pecans. But yeah,
pecan pie, pecan
yes,
pie. It's all the same.
There's
tomato, right?
That people will steal bees and
people will steal anything.
But if
there's money in it, people are gonna steal it.
Yeah, the police broke up a bee rustling ring that was raking in millions.
Wow.
So a bee cartel.
Yes, yeah.
Honey, bee stealing cartel.
Honey is right up there. Is right up there with coffee and some other fine culinary ingredients in terms of it being ratified for its purity, knowing where it comes from, single sourced. There's a whole industry around the honey market. The market.
I have some beekeeper friends here. One is in the Lions Club with me. I thought he was joking when he said he was a beekeeper because
it's huge.
He's retired from the Air Force and the Army.
It's
and
huge.
I'm like, yeah, right. But he takes some of his bees over to different farms and farms them out. They're not stolen. His aren't anyway, but it's pretty lucrative. You're right.
That you know of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I know of, right, Justin? That I know of. I better have a talk with Ed this afternoon to make sure he's not part of the bee cartel.
Well, and they'll also just go. Like if the queen goes, the swarm will go with them. So it's it's a little volatile in that way too. Yeah, there's a lot of beekeepers around here too. So
he brought them.
I just read
he brought some of his bees to a meeting that we had.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my lord!
They were flying
EpiPens to the ready.
During the meeting. Yeah, that's how I
just
felt.
read a
said,
thing
they're
yesterday.
Not going to sting anybody, and I'm like, oh my god.
I read this thing yesterday about are they called the Hasda people? It was like people in Tanzania, and they do a thing where they have this there's like a scientific name for it, like a mutual, like a symbiotic relationship kind of with a species of bird. And they do this thing where they have a call, and the birds will attack these bees' nests and distract the bees. Then the humans crack them open, take a big chunk of the the honeycomb, but then leave a whole bunch for these birds. So they basically formed this relationship over, I think, thousands of years, where they kind of do this copro to access this honey, and to this day still do it.
That's wild.
Yeah, and it's like this whole thing. It was.
I gotta split. Alex, it was awesome to meet you, man. Like I said, I loved the episode I saw on his thing. It was fantastic. I love that. I wish I could participate or view it or whatever. Unfortunately, geography, what it is, But
maybe we got to come down to Oklahoma sometime and do it.
There's a spot just right over in Arkansas, actually, where me and Steve went. It would be amazing. Eureka, Steve, if you remember.
Yes.
Yeah. When you got the hat.
Cool.
Yeah.
It would be
great town.
Perfect for it. Yeah. Absolutely perfect for it. Yeah.
That is nowhere. And it's definitely.
But it's cool, right? It's got a vibe. It's got a vibe. So, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Great. Justin.
Hey, well, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, man.
Enjoy the rest of your day, bud.
Good to see you, Carla.
And
seeing you again, Justin.
Carla and Steve, how do you know each other?
We met through, how did we met through through the ENTV?
Was it Empowered Soul?
Amos
Bracewell.
Amos Bracewell. There's a Facebook group that we were both involved in.
Cool.
And then we got we got chatting. Basically, people were having sort of their little interviews and chats with other people, and Carla stood out as a special lady. So we connected, and I've had her as a guest, sort of sharing her passion.
Okay.
Share a bit of what you do,
Yeah.
Carla, with Alex. As the first time you met him.
Yeah.
Alex, I've worked with kids for over 35 years, teaching them dance and how to dance and have resilient. Through dance.
Okay.
But I've also worked with pageant queens, well, kids that I've trained to be pageant queens, pageant winners. And I am a sickle cell warrior and a thalassemia warrior. I have both diseases, and I advocate for both. And I advocate for kids who have disabilities and challenges. Wow. And I'm currently on the Lee County School Board of Education here. So I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Amazing. And what was
Steve's my buddy to help me get it out there.
That's awesome. And what was
I'm a pageant coach.
And I don't know a lot about pageant stuff. So tell me a bit about
pageants. It's not supposed to be a beauty pageant. It's supposed to be a scholarship pageant, but it's based on both beauty scholarship.
Okay.
I train winners. That's what I said. I train winners.
Wow. That is so interesting. And coaching kids dance, I've got a daughter who's two, I guess, who are super into dance these days, actually. And
awesome.
One of whom is going to dance lessons kind of like 4 times a week.
Wow.
So it's quite an intense schedule for her.
Serious. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really
it's also expensive.
Get ready to come out of the pocket.
Yeah.
With those costumes.
But it's great. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
But
great.
She loves it.
It teaches discipline. It teaches. Yeah, they have more confidence. They're more resilient. Their academics are higher. The list goes on. It increases their dopamine levels, serotonin levels in children. All of that, all good things. And they form bonds for a lifetime with one another.
Yeah.
So, great job. You're a great dad. Dad of the year, having your kids in dance.
There you go.
Got
you go. Yeah. my girls.
What do you do?
Alex? Soccer was my thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. Share a bit with Carla what you do, Alex.
So I am one of the people who runs a theater company in my town in Halifax. So the company's called Zupa. We do all kinds of things. Kind of, some more sort of traditional theater, and then some stuff that theater that doesn't happen in theaters. So I met Steve in the context of a project that I'm working on just outside of Lancaster that involves people wandering around. It's sort of like a theater show in the form of a treasure hunt that happens all around the town. And you're guided by a phone app, and you're looking for undercover performances that are happening in different places, like cafes and, sometimes in private spaces, sometimes in public spaces. And so kind of try to do things that are sort of interesting and exciting and in kind of unique ways, I guess. But often work with dancers and choreographers and musicians and people from all kinds of different backgrounds. We worked with chefs. We do a show that we've traveled around with that happens in restaurants. We have a show that happens in libraries. Kind of just try to do things that seem kind of interesting and magical in their own way, I guess.
I love that.
I like it.
I love that. Theater outside of a theater.
Yes.
That's a great way to say it as well. That's such a nice way to put it. I don't know who said the whole world is a stage, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Sometimes you've got to.
Yeah, we take it literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone said to me,
Love it.
someone asked me posed the question that, if you were the main character in a movie, what would the movie viewers be screaming out for you to not do or to do? Like you're sitting in a movie, you see the main character just about to turn a corner. The music often gives it away, which we don't. If we walked out with music, oh my goodness, it would be interesting if we had a soundtrack following us around. You got the trepidation music as you go downstairs at night, But what would the audience be screaming to you to do or not do?
What a great question.
It is a great question. I've asked that a couple of times. Get out of bed.
Yeah.
So I'll leave that one out there. You don't have to answer it here, but it's certainly a question where it's a journal prompt, if nothing else.
Well, part of what strikes me about it off the bat is just that there's something, about, I mean, this is kind of goes to everything you're doing with conversations like this, Steve, but is that, I don't know, I just feel, I assume everybody feels this way, that you often feel isolated and alone, in the thing that you're doing, or, I don't know, maybe I'm projecting onto everybody else, but there's even just something about that concept of people who would be yelling, the fact that anybody's watching at all is in and of itself is just an interesting thought, to think that in those moments where, where you feel solitary, that, to imagine what it would be like if somebody was present or somebody was watching that. I don't know. I find that in and of itself a kind of compelling thought without even knowing what I'd want anybody to say.
Shout, screaming at the screen.
Yeah.
Don't open the door. or do something,
Yeah.
Hurry up.
Yeah. Don't do that, or do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting thought, and I guess it, like you said, it put I love questions that prompt a shift in paradigm, in terms of how you think of the question, because like you said, it does imply someone's actually an audience to your life, and if you're spiritually based, you could call that, you can call that audience your faith, right, or your God.
Yeah.
And then even bringing that down a level, if you like, where you think of it in the movie context. Like literally, I've shouted at screens so many times in films, and I'm like, you can't be that naive or ignorant. You see that sign? We both saw it. It was in the scene, it flashed to the hammer or the knife or the weapon or something that was going to be used later. And, so you go, oh, come on. So it's interesting to project that on your life and think somebody is, and it could be an advocate for you. They're not bemoaning you as the key player in your life, but they're your cheerleader, sort of saying, you got
go
this.
for it.
Yeah, you totally got this, So, and that segue into the advocacy for Carla. We had a great podcast chat and just talking about how invisible or less visible illnesses can often be treated differently or perceived differently.
Yeah.
Based on maybe who has it or how they present themselves with a condition, and all of those sorts of challenges in terms of just being able to stand up and sort of say, this is a problem and I need help. And others need help. I'm just one person who you've understood, Carla has a card or something you walk with paperwork or something that says that you've got these, you were saying in our chat, Carla, that, if you present yourself at a doctor's visit or a hospital that doesn't know her, she's got something that says, this is what I've got. And she understands her illness. not everybody with the condition necessarily has that level of presentation. They're working with a crisis, and all of a sudden they're like, I need help. I'm feeling this, and you can depend on who's on the shift or what's going on in the hospital or the facility.
You have to be your own best advocate.
Yeah.
No matter what, right? You in an emergency situation, you have to be your own best, because if you don't speak up for yourself, I won't say theirs, but really they're there to treat the symptoms and get you out of there as quickly as possible. So the more you know, and the more you can speak up for yourself, even when in pain, and keep yourself calm, the better your results. Not always, but the better chances of you coming out with a better result. And that's what I keep, I don't want to say preaching about, reaching out and reaching and attempting to let others know with the same conditions or whatever condition that they have, whatever challenge that they have medically, that this is what you need to do. It's all how you present yourself. And it's sad that when you're going in an emergency situation, that people are looking at how you present yourself physically as well, how you look, how you're dressed, how you're speaking, the tone. None of that should even matter when you are there to be treated and receive the medical attention that you need. But it does, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So the better you can kind of play the game of life in the emergency room, the better off your circumstances. It's a lot better.
Very smart having that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut. I was just going to say it's very smart having that written down that you can take in with you. Like,
it's on a card. They're available now through what is it? Not AAA. It's almost like a AAA card. It's through Medic Alert. And if people Google it, they can get a card also. It's like a little credit card, and it has a QR code on it, and it has the information that is submitted by you on your medical conditions and what doctors that they can contact at what hospitals that you frequent, so that they have an idea of how to treat this. Because I understand it is a little scary when you are someone who's not what they consider a frequent flyer, someone that is not in the ER frequently, but then you're there and you're in this excruciating pain. They don't want to over medicate you. They don't want to under medicate you. They have to treat you, but it's making them wonder, where their liability will be if they give you too much. And if they give you too little and you get sicker. This card is to help the physicians and the staff as well in the ER. And I just want to let people know that it's out there. It's available for anyone.
That's crazy. It made me think of, like you said, Carl, about how one presents themselves, how they look, how they dress, how they speak. Their response to the threshold of pain that they're in. So they're not in their normal default state. They're already in an excited or an extraordinary state when they walk in to that environment. And then having the card would certainly sort of take some of that sting away. I was thinking about vets. I mean, vets have to treat pets, right? And no one looks at the condition of the pet in terms of what the pet looks like. They just go in and they do their diagnosis, and they work with the animal. They work with the vet, the animal. With people, we come in there with preconditions or expectations, or we go crazy with it. So it's like one of those things that you go,
that's a good comparison.
That shouldn't be a factor.
It shouldn't be. Or if I was a baby, or if the person's a baby, everybody wants to make that baby well. But when the baby is no longer a baby, it's like, she's pretty calm. Is she faking? Is she drug seeking? And like I've told many providers in the ER also, but I've had some that are really some jackasses. Yes, I'm drug seeking. I'm seeking the drugs that I would seek to get the treatment that I need. These are legal drugs. This it's what I need to help resolve my pain, and I have a right to get them. I shouldn't have to argue with you. I shouldn't have to come in kicking and screaming and moaning that I'm in pain to receive them. Let me communicate with you what's going on with me. I can stay calm because getting excited, I've learned over the years, I'm 56 going on 57 in a few more months, that doesn't help my situation. Stress only exacerbates the symptoms with sickle cell and thalassemia. So I've learned how to remain calm, even when in pain, and communicate. And that it shouldn't be questioned, like Steve said, it shouldn't be questioned. But people, they're suspicious, and for whatever reason,
you're too calm.
I'm too calm. She's too calm.
If you were screaming and writhing around, it would be better.
Then I need to calm down. If I'm in the middle of the way, how much medicine did you take at home, Carla? Well, I took it by mouth, but it's not doing any good. I know I need IV meds. And then when I know too much, and then I have to explain again, I was a paramedic also. So I've treated people with the same condition in the ER. I know how to remain calm. I was trained, EMS trained. So we always say, stay calm on top, and beneath the surface, you're kicking and pedaling like a duck underwater. So I know I've been trained to stay calm also. So just listen to what people say. Stop stop being so judgmental is what I'm saying to people who are working in the ER or in doctor's offices. Believe what they say. Listen to people. Stop judging.
It's a fight. It's tough. It's tough if they've got things in their space that are forcing them. We see it in the national health system here in the UK. You know, in terms of trying to. It's a finite system with an infinite demand. So there's always going to be there's a need, or there's a requirement to means test and determine how much health care you give and where you give it along the life cycle of care. You know, we always say, treat it early, treat it early. It's less, it's the stitching time saves the 9, right? But then how early and what kind of stitch, and who's making the noise, and all those things come into play. But part of the advocacy from my side is men's health, prostate health. My dad just dodged the bullet with prostate cancer. I think primarily because my stepmother, his wife, was a nurse, and she kind of drew that into him and made sure that he was tested, and it was caught and dealt with early. He's now since passed, but that was something that was a key thing for me. And as in my 50s, I made sure that my blood tests also included the PSA, which is the marker that that tells, that's a number in the it's a specific antigen, I think it's prostate specific antigen. And it's a number, a marker in the blood that will kind of be an early warning system. And men need to know the number. In the UK, 1 in 8 men die from prostate cancer. It's 1 in 4 black men. So and it was bizarre. I was with some friends and I was sharing that statistic with a friend of mine who had a radio show, and we were just talking for his show, and it came out, there's 3 of us there, 3 black guys, and my friend who's the radio host had suffered from prostate cancer. So we were literally in that statistic. So again,
good to get. I've got to look into that actually. My thing is, my mom, her mother and her sister both died of breast cancer, and so as a result, she was quite a bit younger than her sister. She just goes in twice a year for tests, and I don't know, now it's, I guess, 10 years ago. She's just turned 84, but 10 years ago they caught it in a test, but got it, or early enough, and obviously the medical technology is better, all that, like, so the same thing that ended the life of both her mother and sister, she was able to get treatment and get it in early and all that stuff, and is now cancer free and has been for several years. So it's been amazing. But like that's the thing. I'm like, man, and I look at my daughters, like they'll have the same genetic predisposition there, and it's like, just keep on that, like do those tests.
Yeah,
because it's it's at a point now where if you get it early enough, it isn't anywhere near as lethal as it used to be, which is amazing.
It's agency. It comes down to it. I think that's the underlying theme here is like, Carla says, as a thriver and a warrior with her conditions. Agency and advocacy is really where it's at, and it's the best place to be. You can't expect people to be doing it for you when you've got capacity to do it yourself. That's what the audience will be screaming to people: get that test. Why didn't you book
tested.
it yet?
Speak up.
It's the third year. You've been talking about this for 3 years and you haven't gone. My last blood test, I asked the practitioner, and I gave him that stat about the 1 in 4 and the 1 in 8, and he didn't know it. He didn't realize it. And I'm like, well, not that he should. I'm not trying to knock him, but it's one of those things that if you're not an advocate or an agent for things that are concerning you, then you can't assume that professionals are going to know every condition for every person that walks into a clinic or a hospital. So, it's good to go in with the card, or just being, forearmed is forewarned. So, so that's our public service announcement right there.
Yes.
Well, like you say, they're all dealing. And you're dealing with people who are dealing with their own stuff, and they're thinking about, we've got to get 6 people in before 2:00, and all that stuff. So you have to take that agency.
That's so true.
And I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been the patient, I've been the worker back there in that ER when things are just going haywire. So I get it, but it's just listen to the patient. Don't just treat what's on the chart and what's on the labs. Listen to what they're saying, because it doesn't always match exactly. It's not always textbook. And for my 2 conditions, there's usually about this much in a medical book, 1 little paragraph, maybe 2, about the conditions. So they don't really know that much about it unless they know someone personally who has either of the diseases. And many people don't know about sickle cell, but I found out that many more have never even heard of thalassemia at all. So, and I've got both.
Yeah, I've never heard of it until you said it today.
It's
well, now you can help me spread the word.
Yeah.
And I was going to say something about the communicate. You said the communicating in terms of listening to the patient. Again, segue into this environment. We're at the water cooler. My podcast is the one-to-one thing. It is all about conversation and communication, because whether it's in a professional setting, in a personal setting, with yourself, those areas require an understanding, and there's no formula to it. It's really more of an understanding, and it starts with listening. It's got to start with listening, and not just hearing someone say something, but having that mindset You know, it's like what Justin said about me being a community, you know, being the connector. You start with the expectation that you're going to learn something when you ask the question, and not just be able to diagnose from someone walking across the wing as they walk towards you 10 yards away, judging their demeanor or their attitude or the way they look and all that stuff. And then you go, okay, I've pretty much diagnosed that before they've opened their mouth. Listen to the patient, because like you said, there's so much more to hear in the conversation than the chart would ever tell you. You know, so I think that's a metaphor for life right there. You got to listen. We've got to take the time to listen to each other long enough to kind of maybe read between the lines, maybe get a broader perspective, maybe find the commonality before you look for the differences. The differences are always going to be very apparent, because we are fear-mongering animals that are socially bred. You know, we're socially engineered, but we're fear-mongering. All right, so we're all antelope looking out for the lion. Right. So when an antelope twitches their ears a certain way, everyone goes, "Oh, did you see that?" And they look for the difference because it's trying to protect. When in actual fact, sometimes you just got to listen and find out where people are at and look for the commonality. So that's, I think that's important. On that note, I normally stop.
We all do like the elephants.
Do like the. Oh. Go ahead, Carla.
I was just going to say quickly, if we all do like the elephants did yesterday at the zoo, when we hear danger or get a warning and we all quickly work together to protect one another, we'd be a better off. It would be a better world.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I think it would be much better.
Yeah. And the sad thing is that we know it. We know that. We know that inherently, because every coach, someone in, you know, personal development or the wellness industry, they know that there are things that we can do to advocate, be better, do better, become more. And that's not being more at the expense of somebody else, because that's just a pure hierarchy and you're just exploiting someone low, you know, things that are lower down in the order to be higher up in the order. And that's not what I'm talking about, as much as we know that working together as a social creature is going to support us. We've done that all through our evolution. We've worked together. So I don't know why we think today this era is the time where we can just do our own thing and not worry about what's happening on the other side of the world, or what's happening on the other side of the street, or what's happening down the road. You know, why would you think that wouldn't come back to bite you, affect you, impact you? You know, it's very short-sighted, I think. And our intelligence, we're training. Artificial intelligence is a trained learning platform, model, machine. It has to be taught. It has to learn. And to imply that it's going to be smarter than us or better than us when we don't teach it the things that we know inherently are the things that it should be learning, we're not setting it up for a good outcome.
Good result.
Yeah. I'd rather see more real intelligence than artificial, or more human intelligence than us leaning on artificial, you know. And I say that with a smartphone that is taking over my brain.
It's listening to every word you say.
Yeah, but there you go. But I normally draw a line at the hour mark, and we've been going 120. We're at 119. So I'm gonna call time on our water cooler. Leave some for next week. It's been great seeing you, Alex. Thanks for joining. It's been great.
Yeah, this was so much fun
connecting. Yeah. And, you know, if it works for you and you can make it, then please, by all means. I rock up, and sometimes it's just me chatting for a little while before people join. Cool. Or it's fine.
Amazing.
And
this Carla, so much fun.
Yeah, and Carla's a rock star, and I know she's doing great guns down in her neck of the woods. So.
And Carla, I'm gonna see if I can find out more about Carolina connections with my family too. So
absolutely,
I'll get back to you.
And we need
to get back to you on that one.
We need to talk about the theater and family.
Yeah.
So let's connect.
Yeah, sounds
definitely
sounds amazing.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
All right. Well, connect up,
Nice.
enjoy. All right. Thank you
Nice to
so
see you
much.
both.
All right, then.
See ya.
For those
Thank
listening,
you.
watching, thanks. That was it. Take care, Carla, Alex. All the best, mate.
Thank you. You
All
too,
right. Thank
Steve.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.